What's up, guys? How's it going? Who we got in the chat? Andrew Cameron, first one to show up. What's up, man? Let's see. I can't I can't read. I think that's Hindu. I'm not sure, but thanks for coming, man. I'm doing pretty good. We've caught the short at the top last night. I did it as like a couldn't do it as a signal because it was in a 3-minute time frame. It was a little. It's hard to type like when the entry criteria is met in the lower time frames and jump in at the same time. So we jumped in. It was inside the InvestiShare server where we were sharing. I basically went in the live trading channel there and just shared my screen and said when I was going to jump in. But yeah, if you held through this, I did not. But if you held through this, my gosh, like that trade would have been amazing. I got out because, first of all, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning and I was tired and I didn't want to babysit it. So I just set a limit exit and we hit that limit exit. But yeah, we entered because of basically we had a change of character occurrence on the 3-minute right here. So this was like our spark, our conduit for the entry. But it gave it a little time to retest the VWAP, and that's when I jumped in, put my stop loss above the high, evolved the stop loss as soon as we got this new strong low right here. So we moved it above the value area high, and then we began to target the value area low. We lost that value area at the all-time high. We had a massive sell wall. I'm not sure if you guys saw it. Oh, it's Arabic. Thanks, man. I'm not sure if you guys saw the sell wall in the order books, but right at 112,000, there's 3,000 Bitcoin waiting to be sold here. So we could not break past it. And like 3,000 Bitcoin it's usually done from like institutional involvement or a market maker trying to drive the price down. And they did a really good job because we couldn't hold it after that. And we ended up losing the value area entirely. We lost momentum that has been holding us up. Let me just pull this up for a second, a 30-minute. Yeah, the momentum ever since the break of our consolidation at the macro all-time high right here, we just lost that momentum around here. And this structure could have been taken as a bull flag. I couldn't really see it that way because of the regression trend right here, kind of like resetting the momentum. But if this wasn't here and I saw this placement over here, I would have been able to identify this as a 115K target. But instead, I took the conservative approach into thinking that basically the run to the upside was almost over after we got here. I'm not sure if you guys remember us talking about that. The conservative approach, when you're looking at an asymmetrical triangle, you grab the center point of the structure, you click and drag your trend line to the bottom point where the support lies, and you just right where we break out, that's where you'll get your target where you can expect exhaustion. And we hit the target and we got an extreme exhaustion. We reset after that, but then we began our run back up after we double bottomed at this value area low, and we've been running up, and we created a new all-time high here and had a very, very transparent short that happened here. I'm not sure if you guys jumped in on that one, but that was like an easy mode, like 15-minute SFP, and like off the all-time high, like that kind of confluence is pretty amazing. But right now, as it stands, like Bitcoin is trying to establish a more trying to basically, if we get acceptance back inside this valley area, we could have a potential range extension and consolidate between this zone between like 108,000 roughly and 112,000, or we may just run up for a stronger continuation because people are frothing up the mouth in FOMO right now. But we have to get past that sell wall. I'm not sure if that sell wall is still there anymore. We can take a look at the order books and see. It's not really allowing to see beyond 110,000 $6,000 right now. We have to get closer to the price action unless we adjusted the decimal range. So right now the decimal range is consolidated between every 10 dollars. So it's showing you these walls and these orders in like $10 increments. You can adjust it to 1 and you can adjust it to 100. 1, you can barely see the order books. It's really flashy. It's hard to actually react. So it's best to try to consolidate it for every $10 and then just undercut those walls a little bit when you're trying to enter or exit. And then the 100, it's great, but it's fairly macro, and sometimes it's not very helpful when you're looking at the scalping game, but it is helpful when you're trying to zoom out and see like a bigger picture. So I just selected 100. It's not really adapting yet. It's not adjusting. But we can see that we have a sell wall just like 200 Bitcoin at 100 and 110,000, pretty much even. So we have like a psychological level there that's being honored right now in the order books. So there's a bunch of people preparing to sell basically at this neckline, right at the top of this neckline right here. So that could prevent us from breaking through this as a double bottom, unfortunately. But that's only if the volume is low, because like 200 Bitcoin is a pretty small sell wall. Like it only takes about 1 tap and you're basically breaking through that. Whereas something like, 3,000 like we saw up here, like that takes quite a bit of effort to break past something like that. And yeah, limit exits are usually the best way to exit too if you're someone who is a big holder of an asset and you're afraid of causing a negative impact on the asset too. It's better than market exiting and creating a huge crash. But yeah, Bitcoin right now is trying to double bottom. We came up, we double topped off the VWAP. We came down and we tapped the 618 and 786 zone here. From this high, this low to this high, if you were to do a pull, it would give you this zone of confluence. And the best entry would have been the same entry that Alexo Crypto made today, actually. The engulfing 3-minute candle response. It's a form of confirmation. And yeah, that probably would have been the safest entry, and you would be targeting the VWAP for a potential exit. And right now, we just got a negative change of character, like an opposing change of character against the VWAP. So our probability of going up has just been reduced, unfortunately. So we might see this come down or rotate right back down now because of this level right here. When we had this pullback and the higher high, that gave us a break of structure to find this as a strong low in the 3-minute. And then we never had a proper pullback. This is an unclaimed high. And we just hit the VWAP and then came down and got that change of character occurrence. So our probability of coming down all the way down here, again, it's relatively high. It's a good idea to pull a fixed range now from the candle, the base candle here, from the top of this range to include that data and then drag it to the current price action. So as you can see, we have like obviously valley area high confluence. It's young valley area, but you can see that where most of the volume is down here. Now, points of control. Well, one thing you guys should know about points of control is that they also can give you a statistical bias of direction. So what I mean by that is basically the same way like a falling wedge gives you a statistical bias of direction where it's more likely to break to the upside because of the liquidity that's stacking from the upside and being taken from the downside. So the statistical edge of knowing the direction comes from the posture of formations, right? But we also have posture of data on the valley area that could help you as well in identifying like when or which direction the asset or the range might break. And a lot of that data comes from the point of control, like which side is the point of control, but it also comes from like the posture of the rest of the data too. So there's a really easy rule of thumb is you look for P's and B's. So if you see a B like this, your point of control will be roughly around here. And the statistical edge is knowing like the probability of this range with like the valley area high here and the valley area low here and the point of control here, like kind of similar to what we're seeing over here. this tells us that we're more likely to break to the downside. And if we saw like a P, it's the opposite, right? Price action is mostly weighted on the upside of the range. So the point of control is over here. So statistically, we're more likely to break to the upside. This doesn't mean like ape into a long whenever you see a P, or ape into a short if you see a B, but it is confluence that could help you with your trade setups. So if you want to have a rule for your trading saying like, I will only focus on breakouts of the range if we have a point of control on the upper side of the value area, you could have that as a rule in your trading. Or the opposite is true too. They'll only enter a break of the range for a short if the point of control is on the lower side of the value area. So visualize the equilibrium point, which is like the midway point, and see where the point of control is within that. Is it above it or is it below it? And should I be pairing mostly for a trend-based short or a trend-based long when we leave this range? But yeah, so statistically, based on the value area data, it's suggesting that we're more likely to go down, but that doesn't have very much weighted value to my actual personal trading, by the way. But yeah, this is suggesting that we're likely to come down. We have to watch out for the confluence of the point of control here. We have a 3-minute order block, which isn't nearly as strong as like higher time frame order blocks, but it's still something you should take note of, especially in a young range like this. If we manage to come up, let's say we find support here, right? This is our equilibrium point. We have a volume shelf right here. We have an order block here. So we have reason to kind of bounce at this area. If we bounce here and we get the higher high, we would get that internal break of structure, and that could allow us to break this double bottom neckline. And the double bottom measurable target would bring us back inside this value area and give us that range extension that we kind of want for an increased probability of a continuation above 112K. But if we can at least get to the value area low, we can have that potential acceptance and go range bound in here again. Because the price action here, I know a lot of people aren't liking it, but I kind of enjoyed this range, even though it was kind of short-lived. That's probably my bias because I only took 2 trades and they're both winners, but it seemed to flow really well with my strategy. So I kind of like that range there. So let's see what happens here. Let's look at the larger time frames. What's the 15-minute look like? We get that. Yeah, we got a tweezer reaction on the VWAP, so that's bearish by itself. We get the 3-minute change of character, which is an undercut to the 15-minute time frame. Well, the 5 is the undercut to the 15. The 3 is a minute to the undercut to the 5. And so it looks like we're more likely to come down. We got the bias of a short on the 15, and we got the change of character occurrence on the 3. So we're likely heading down here, guys. We could pull a fib from this local low to this local high internally. And we can see there's some confluence of the order block with the newly formed Fibonacci level. We can delete this. We don't need this anymore. But I just wanted to explain to you a potential good setup that you could have taken here. One thing I do like, if we do get that bounce around here, we do kind of have like an inverse head and shoulders kind of posture within the double bottom. So some trade participants might react off of this break right here, and not just wait for this key level here to be broken. But that's Bitcoin. Sorry for my rant. Where is the chat at? So already people throwing requests for me to look at some stuff. Tamale saying he's ready like SpongeBob on a work day. That's pretty awesome. SpongeBob was my life when I was younger. Still kind of is. Now my kids are watching it, so. Sui. So we got a request to look at Sui. Yeah, I could take a look at some assets now for you guys. I just want to give you guys the bias that I've got with Bitcoin. So if we're preparing for an internal short, you should also be looking for any pairing-based assets that could be going down as well. You could use Bitcoin as an indicator for your altcoin trades. So just like how you can use like the DXY to help you with your Bitcoin trades. What kind of confluence are you seeing there? And then if the DXY is looking strong and Bitcoin's looking weak, that's additional confluence to help you with your shorts. All right, so okay, so right now, let's pull up the SUI chart for Runway. Runway is one of our I'd say one of the most valuable community members that we've got. He's really active with finding cool information to help people out. And SUI was wild. So as soon as we got into like pretty much our technical target for this falling wedge structure, and we broke out here, but it barely let you kind of get in safely. But what if you did on the second attempt right here, like we double bottomed and let's see here. Yeah, we had fractalized actually as a double bottom here, larger double bottom here, right? So we had a lot of trade participants enacting off of that. We got above the VWAP, so lots of good confluence for a long. If you're late to the party, there was a pullback here for a continuation. But yeah, as soon as we got to our measurable target and inside the supply concern, we basically double topped and then had a really harsh reaction down. But now we are back inside this structure, which I wouldn't really consider it a falling wedge anymore because we've hit that technical target and all that stuff. If anything, this is more of a valley area extension that you could do. We do have like two core valley areas, like one here and one here, but now we can actually create an extension for this whole zone here to be treated as more of a macro valley area. Because we're behaving off these highs and lows as if we have like an extended range. So I'm going to pull a fixed range following profile. I'm going to clear some of this noise because we got a lot of noise in here. Okay. What is this valley area high? Okay, we're at the previous valley area high right now here. So we have an area of confluence for our support bounce. I'm going to leave this downtrending trend line. Yet the pace of the buyers are still kind of maintaining it. I'm going to grab the fixed range now from here to here. We got a deviation away from that valley area. I'm going to delete this. Delete this because we have the point of control there instead. We don't need this either. Okay, let's press Control, click drag, so we can clone the line there. POC, there we go, cool. All right, so we have our active valley area. We got a deviation away from the valley area to the downside. I think it's above 50% deviation here. Yeah, okay, it's just a little bit below, around the 25% level now. So we have that chance to come back up and retest this valley area. We have to treat this valley area low as a potential barrier of resistance. So just watch out for that. We also have the VWAP in our face. So there's a lot of things trying to keep us from going back up. Let's zoom in a little bit on the 5-minute. Got a bit of a bear flag structure. Uptrending support. We only have 2 touch points here, so we don't know if this is an official squeeze. But we do know that this is momentum that you could follow for a potential short. It's our 5-minute high, 15-minute wick high. So we'll break this low here. So yeah, on the 5-minute, if we break this local low, we could, and if we simultaneously break the momentum, we could have a short that could bring us down to these lows again. Similar to what we're seeing with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin breaks that double bottom, it's going to bring up the Ethereum pairing liquidity that is synced with Bitcoin, right? So if BTC goes up, Ethereum will go up, and that will drive SUI to also go up. So watch the chain influence that could occur there. Bitcoin right now, we're coming down to that little area of interest that we were talking about before. At the order block, this local high, the equilibrium point, the volume shelf. So if we were going to bounce here, we got to bounce here. Let's see. And I think that this level could be undercut, the 618. But yeah, that's Sui. I hope that helps you out. What you really want to see is acceptance back inside this valley area here, right? If you get that break of structure, we could end up having continuations that bring us right back up to the valley area high. I'm going to delete some of the noise for anyone who's using my Sui chart so it's not in your face. I personally wouldn't feel comfortable longing off that break, but I would definitely feel comfortable shorting here. All right, there we go. Let's see what we got in the chat. Try to keep up. In that Bitcoin trade right now, took the exact one from Dr. Drake. Oh, good job, man. Like that's are you talking about the Fibonacci trade, or are you talking about the short that we did last night? Because like they're both great. But right here, if you took the Fibonacci setup, this was your big warning sign right here when we broke that change of character right here, especially when the full body closed below it. Like that price acceptance could drive the price down. So at this point, you might not have wanted to close your full position, but I would have closed at least a partial in response to something like that. Okay. Dogecoin. Someone wants me to look at Dogecoin. Solana, Dogecoin. What else is there? And CRV. Okay. So let's look at Dogecoin first. I'm not a fan of Dogecoin, but we can take a peek at it. Oh, we don't have a Dogecoin chart. That's probably because I'm not a fan of it. So DOGE. Let's get the Binance chart open. It's below the VWAP. Let's go to the daily for a second. Let's see how it's developed in the daily here. So we're above the, oh, right. We were talking about this yesterday. We're above the 200 EMA. We're holding it as support. Let's zoom in. Yeah, this was our long condition that we wanted to have. If anyone took that, congratulations. Holy crap. I did not take that long. I know we were talking about it yesterday. We had the confluence of being at the value area low, right? We're at the value area low. We broke internal momentum after we retested the POC. We were getting a squeeze where a bullish squeeze. So like there's a difference between a bearish and a bullish squeeze. So this is the bullish one. We have most of the liquidity stacking above us, right? And we came up and we took all the liquidity up until here from this run up here. We can draw momentum and we can see that we already lost it, of course, but we got momentum here that was lost at the value area high. So once we got up here, you should have had your bear goggles turned on, like getting ready for a short. And then the main thing you want to look out for is like, are we losing momentum? Are we going to have a change of character occurrence? And then you take that change of character and you can jump in on a short. Yeah, now it looks like we're getting a rotation back down to the value area low. Because we got acceptance back inside the value area, we can now update this fixed range volume profile pole back to the current price action. You can see how things could have adapted. So let's move this back up here. We can delete this. We don't need that anymore. I personally wouldn't have shorted this. Maybe if there's like an SFP up here, I could have taken something like that. We swept this liquidity up here. There could have been an appropriate time frame for an SFP. But yeah, I wouldn't have shorted it just because structurally I would prefer if we were to have like a break of structure, it wouldn't be like this low. I'd rather it be like somewhere around the value area high. So if we got like a higher high here, use this as our strong low, As soon as that broke, we could have jumped in on the short, or I would have felt more comfortable jumping on the short. Descending like double tops always make me concerned about the liquidity that could be resting above, where we can get we can grab it and then come down. So I always am less likely to jump in on those trades versus ones that provides a change of character simultaneously to the break of the value area high. But yeah, we're likely on our way down, at least to the point of control. But you can target the value area low for Dogecoin. So yeah, I hope that helps you out with Dogecoin. The next request was Solana, but I'm going to switch it back to Bitcoin really quick so we can rotate to this chart if we need to, in case there's an opportunity for a trade while we're in the live. Okay. Yeah, we're at that make it or break it moment right now for Bitcoin. We got a vector response in the 5 minutes, so it's probably going to get reclaimed. Solana, right. Solana, we looked at this yesterday too. What we have for Solana. Solana, we were looking at 2 key levels, it looks like, because we're at the value area high already, right? And we got rejected off of previous value area low. That previous value area low came from way back over here. Must be something pretty macro for me to still have it on my chart. Oh, it's in line with accumulation zone, so I kept it on the chart. But yeah, we got a rejection off of that, and now we're coming back down to its local value area. We zoom back in on the lower time frames. I got a couple levels marked. One for an SFP right here. Right? So if we came up, it looks like when we were looking at this zone, we were looking for a potential SFP because it's a value area high. So a short bias SFP is a good location. This is a good location to prepare for a short bias SFP. So if we came up, grabbed liquidity, and then closed back inside the range, then that would have been a confirmed SFP. But instead, the candle closed above, so it invalidated the chance of an SFP from the liquidity above that wick. So we can delete that. We did get a support bounce off that key level. We got the breakage structure. It basically flagged. So we have like the flag posture here, right? And you could pull from the last zone of consolidation, the measurable base target. This is your mast, and you click and you drag and you put it where the support bounce last was to expect an area of exhaustion. So this is your technical target if you jumped in on that breakage structure, right? This is like a formation confirmation setup. So if at that level you would prepare for your exit, it looks like we double topped as soon as we got there, got that exhaustion, but found this as support again, came up, rejected off that value area low, and now we're looking pretty harsh. We got that change of character occurrence right here, because when we got that higher high, this became our strong low for our Solana on the 15-minute. And then we got that change of character occurrence. Like, this is a notification basically telling you that now a 15-minute time frame is biased to be bearish. Like, we're bearish now on the 15-minute time frame. And it looks like we got a decent bounce off of our last zone of interest, but this is coincidental, honestly. There is a little bit of a demand zone there, of course, but let's see what we hit there from the high to the low. Adjust our Fibonacci pull. And we hit the 618, 786 zone of interest for a short. And when you're getting your pull relative to your time frame, you want to make sure that you are trading alongside the trend. And in this case, we got that change of character occurrence telling us that a bias is short, so we can pull from the highs to the lows and prepare for an area where price action is likely to get exhausted. We are kind of getting us another descending double top on Solana, so we could be approaching these local lows again. If we get proper acceptance into this value area, again, right now we haven't, but if we get proper acceptance in here, value area high, And that will come from a break of structure below the value area high, like this. The moment you get that break of structure with at least a 2 candle pullback, you can then begin to target the value area low, but be very, very mindful of this point of control, because this is not a weak point of control. This is a very strong point of control. You see how we have this like huge spike in the volume here. This volume shelf, this whole box zone here is a zone of interest where price action could reverse or get rejected. Like it was rejected consistently through here, right? Support, resistance, support and resistance all over the place. So please be very mindful of 171 if you decide to try to short into the value area. But that's Solana. So right now it's looking short-term bearish. Unless it were to somehow maintain itself above this value area high, right? If we held support here and we range above the value area high, like that's usually a warning sign that we're likely going to be leaving that value area and moving on to a new one or a previous one. So we can delete this now. We don't need that anymore. Congrats for anyone who may have taken any setups through here. It looked pretty user-friendly up until this point here. And there was not very much time to try to find something there. Well, yeah, that's Solana. Bitcoin just reclaimed the vector candle as usual. Let's see. We've got a request to look at XRP. The purple, oh yeah, I'm just reading Moo Juice's message here. The purple XP is there to stand out on YouTube. You get experience by sending messages through the live chat or by sending stickers or super chats. Yeah, I'm trying to learn the whole chat system on YouTube, try to improve it for you guys. I want to make emotes, all that fun stuff. So anyone who wants to like express themselves a little bit better with emotes, we can get those. And I want to try to get the chat on the live itself, so you guys can see your chat right on the video. So I don't look like I'm just talking to myself, that there's an actual chat there. Like if someone were to rewatch the video. But yeah, let's open up XRP. Who was the one that requested it? We have XRP. Oh, and CRV too. We gotta look at CRV. I don't want to miss anyone. XRP. We have an XRP chart here. Last time we looked at it was on May 21st. Let's see what occurred from our last TA session. So we were looking at this key level here for a potential long, it looks like. Right into a POC though. I think I remember talking about this. I didn't trust it. For good reason why too. It didn't look like it ran off very far. Let's look at the volume really quick here. So yeah, it hit the top of the volume shelf right here. When you're looking at value areas, there's micro value areas within value areas, right? And if you're looking at the macro value area pole, you get a good indication of where most of those value areas are going to rest, right? So here is a key area of interest. Here's a key area of interest. And everything between it, these valleys or volume gaps, is where price action is going to move quickly if we escape those zones. And with XRP, we kind of stayed inside of our area of interest and we hit our value area volume shelf here and then got rejected. So now we're kind of like threatening to lose this momentum, and we could get that rotation back down to the value area low, especially after already reaching the value area high. I got some tutorial drawings here. So out of all the setups that we looked at in the past couple of days, that was probably the worst one right here. So delete that one. We got a good short at the top there. But what we need to see for that like strong continuation is we need to leave this volume shelf support level here in confluence with a full body level that we have on the 4 hour. So if we get like a 4 hour full body close below this level here at 235 or 230.05, sorry. A full body closure below that level, that price acceptance would drive the price below that volume shelf and we can fall into a valley where price action moves quickly, just like it did right here. And we could fall down to this key area of interest right here where there's an order block right before the run up. So we have this big impulse move here. So there could be residual buy orders here, but to validate that, to make sure you look at the order books to see if there's any residual orders there. But my bias for XRP right now is short. What do we have? We have CRV was the other request. I don't want to miss out on that one. Let's see, we got CRV, we've got Curve. I believe CRV's got quite aggressive inflationary tokenomics. I don't fully remember. Let's zoom out on the daily first. Okay, so we're looking at, I guess the last time we were looking at it was a little while ago. Yeah, so we were looking at this key level here. I guess it must have been a while ago because we wanted to have this break in order for us to target this valley area here. And we have a supply concern right here that we wanted to mitigate. We came up, we mitigated the full supply concern, came back down, hit local support in confluence with the 50-day EMA. And now we're coming back up and we just got the break of structure for potential continuation. So if we get above this previous point of control, which is what we're trying to do right now as we speak, we could get that rotation back up. But we have reasoning based on like what we're seeing with the narrative with most of these assets, or the bias of most of the structure, that we might not breach past this unless CRV gets some relative strength to move it back up to that value high around $1.10. So I'll be preparing for a potential rejection and likely to fall back, not as aggressively as before, but at least to the value area low around like 76.02. Congrats to anyone who may have taken that break that we were talking about. There's lots of time to prepare here during the consolidation against the previous resistance, trying to honor as support. Let's zoom in on the lower time frames and see how it's behaving against that POC though, because it's going to help you like dissect things into knowing when that rejection may actually occur. So right now it's awkward friggin' price action, and we swept all the liquidity here. We can get rid of this giant red box. It's just creating noise for us now. Yeah, so we grabbed all this liquidity from this uptrending, rising wedge structure. Awkwardly broke it to the upside. Swept all the liquidity. It's our extreme low, our extreme high. Let's pull a fib from here to here. Yeah, I would prefer, like I was talking before with XRP, if we got like the higher high first and then broke this as a key level, because that would give us the like a 15-minute change of character occurrence alongside with the break of the VWAP, alongside with the POC, and then get a full rotation back down. And maybe we can get the front run to that as an SFP off these local highs. But right now, I wouldn't say there's enough structure for me to be able to confidently say when you should be jumping in on a potential trade. But if we got more structure with that higher high, like I said, it would develop this as a strong low that you can use as a key level for a potential break down to the value area low. And we can establish this range as we're fighting against that previous point of control from historical price action. And if we eventually break this to the upside, then you can start targeting $1.10, because it will move relatively violently from this POC to that previous value area high, like it has within this range. There's like lots of violent, fast-paced moves, at least if you're looking at the perspective of the daily time frame. Well, that's CRV. I hope that helps. Let's go to Bitcoin again, rotate back down to the 15-minute time frame. We're getting back down towards that valley area low yet. Slowly. Yeah, they were still fighting this volume shelf right here as support, alongside with the previous resistance to be honored as support. We had order blocks there, so they're all mitigated now from this candle. So coming back down here, this should be a lot weaker because there should be less residual orders there from buyers that came in from this impulse move. But yeah, I'll be waiting for our longs down here if we can get that change of character occurrence down here and targeting the local highs. And we can establish this range. We might be building a large bear flag, but until then we can trade internally within it. Can someone please tell me if he sees this message? What message am I looking for? I already sent like 6 messages and one regarding Qubic disappeared for me. That's weird, man. I'll check my, it might be something to do with the back system that we've got on YouTube. There's the ability to kind of like choose which words you want to mute in a way. And I wonder if the way I worded some of those muted words to prevent scammers from being crazy, that it could have caused Qubic to be one part of that. But the Qubic is not a scam. Qubic is great. So I'll figure out and see what's going on there. Or it could be just YouTube in general trying to silence it for some reason. It should be fine. Let's go to Qubic. We're on, we looked at it yesterday. I don't remember what we spoke about with Qubic yesterday. Let's see. We've got no key levels drawn other than our last short. Yes, we don't have any orange key levels drawn, so let's delete that. I immediately remember what we're talking about if I have a key level down. But yeah, it looks like I got a lot of noise on this chart. This is the macro. Oh yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, this is the macro valley area low right here. That's been was helping retain the price to be up for over 150 days over here. Right? So when we had that range bound price action, and now we've been failing, trying to get acceptance back inside that valley area so we can get that rotation back up to 22 parts per million, like 0.000022. If we get back up there, that'd be awesome. We get above the newly formed 200 EMA on this chart at least. We had that really good long position for the falling wedge, kind of building a potential descending double bottom posture. It's kind of awkward. But yeah, we got that rejection off the valley area low. We got a pretty harsh one too. And we're trying to consolidate within an active valley area right now. So we have this 2 valley areas that are kind of like crunched together. Right here and right here. So if we're leaving one valley area into the next, you expect the behavior to behave the same way, right? Because we came down, we hit the valley area low, we got that acceptance right here, and then we failed at its local valley area high in confluence with the previous valley area low, and we came back down. But now we are in a zone where we want to prepare for potential longs. We're at a previous valley area high in confluence with a slight deviation of this previous valley area low. Alex Crypto taking over next week. Yeah. So I'll be doing 3 calls next week to take over for Alex Crypto because he's going out to have fun in Vegas without me. But I have 3 kids, so getting a babysitter for a week, not possible. I gotta figure out a game plan for those kind of events. But yeah, I hope you have fun, man. He's sending me pictures of the golf course that he's gonna be going to. He's gonna be pretending he's gonna be in Egypt or something like that. But yeah, we got a double bottom structure off the previous valley area high. And the neckline is in confluence with the previous valley area low. So we have confluence for this break alongside with the VWAP for a continuation for acceptance into the valley area. And the measurable base target would be the opposite side of the valley area. So if you take the momentum of the double bottom from the neckline to the support, click and drag to the break, it'll give you a zone where price action is likely going to be exhausted if that momentum is maintained. If we consolidate along the way, the targets can extend from that kind of behavior. But Qubic is not usually the type to give you that kind of price action. Usually once you get the break, it pretty much teleports to its measurable base target. So we have the downtrending momentum too that you can watch here. This is the pace of the sellers. So lots and lots and lots of confluence right here if this breaks. And then you want to look for the local low for your stop loss guard, and you target around here, and you only enter the trade if the risk to reward ratio is worth it. So make sure when we develop the low for your stop loss guard that it will give you the proper R&R for your setup, because you want to be trying to gain at least for every dollar you risk to lose, you want to try to gain 2. And right now the risk to reward ratio to that measurable base target is absolute garbage. So even if you know it's going to go up, be very cautious about entering if the risk to reward ratio is not there. Okay, so that is Qubic. Let's go back to Bitcoin. We're starting to get slowly drag our feet down. We can start drawing. Now that we have like another break of structure here, I'm going to start drawing momentum. This is the 5-minute time frame. All right, cool. So the same way we prepare for all of our setups, you know, break of momentum, change character, long. Break of momentum, change character, short. Over and over and over again. Never deviate from your rules. Okay. Man, this price action today from Mark usually indicates there's a big move incoming. Yeah. We're just sweeping liquidity from both directions right now. We had I think it was $190 million right here below this low. So I figured we were bound to come down and grab it eventually. But did I know that we were going to have a massive correction like that? No. But I figured we would be bound to at least grab the liquidity that was resting there. But yeah, let's go to Zen and Pyth with the next 2 requests. Maybe YouTube reads Qubic. Yeah, maybe that could be it. So make sure you're spelling Qubic right. We got an AVAX request too. 114K next from Mark. Dude, yeah, that's kind of the target I was thinking too. If we're going to go to a new all-time high in our next area of exhaustion, I was thinking around 115K as well. But we got that exhaustion at 112 a little bit early. That consolidation could extend it to be a little bit further up. The on-chain metrics are pretty bullish. Like we are, let me just minimize this again. Every time I'm on the screen, you guys can't see the full thing. But yeah, we're right now at 1.39 on the RUP chart. So the next time, every single time we get to 1.72-ish, we get exhaustion and we start ranging. And I'm thinking that 1.73, if we were to get there again, it would require Bitcoin to be at roughly 120K. So we might be consider range. We might see some range bound activity again around 120. And if we do range for months again, then man, our bull market target will extend even further. Like it's just stupid. Like right now, our bull market target's around like 210,000 based on the overheated zone. We'll see what happens, but Bitcoin could just do what it usually does in a bull market and just sprint rather than walk. Okay, so I got to go through, there's a lot of requests. 3 bros, bro, you're throwing out a lot of stuff. What would you prefer me look at? Because I don't have time to look at all of it, man. I know AVAX is a good one because when you cover AVAX, you're basically covering everything that's built on it as well. We just got to tap on the 618 guys. Let's see how that performs. But we just mitigated a 15-minute and a 5-minute and a 3-minute order block here. We just got a really good tap. But for me personally, what I like to see before I enter is a change of character occurrence within this zone for me to feel safe about entering along in that kind of scenario. We got momentum kind of squeezing the price down. But if we jumped in on the same kind of long that Alexo Crypto did today, we would have like an engulfing response as a form of, think of it like another confirmation setting, right? You can have a change of character occurrence. You can have like an SFP. You can have an engulfing response like this. Those are all different forms of entry conditions. And everything else, the confluence that you layer on top of that just helps with your win rate. But everything usually stems from market structure, like how are the candles printing? And then everything else is just a layer you put over top of it. So if you don't know market structure, you can't really know trading without it, if I'm being honest, unless you're doing like a mechanical based strategy. But even then, you can increase your win rate just by knowing proper market structure. Let's go to, okay, Zen and Pyth were the other requests. I don't think I have a Zen or Pyth chart, but let's go to Zen Horizen on Binance. It's got low liquidity on Binance, it looks like, based on those candles. All right, Zen is a good range trader asset. So if you like to range trade, man, this could be a good one for you. Where are the measurable based moves between the value area low and the value area high? 55% gap between the value area low and the value area high. That's gross. So that's on the, we're looking at the daily. So like rotations up and down could take over a week, but you could get front runs in lower time frames to anticipate a rotation up to that value area high. So let's get the horizontal array out. Let's mark our previous value area because we're back down here again, but now we're building an inverse head and shoulders that could allow us to escape this value area like we did last time. The last time we escaped it, we aggressively ran up to $44 in a very unsustainable way. So it's bound to come back down like this. We broke the momentum ever since the downtrend that started around $40. And kind of a bit of evolving momentum, so I'm going to delete that. Make it a little more conservative trend line here. There we go. We got our value area low. Let's change the appearance here. Okay. Our value area high. Our point of control. And the data of this value area is over 770 days old. That's like chain link ranging. That's nuts. But yeah, so far we came down, we hit the value area low. We got a decent bounce off the POC, value area low. Got a bit of a 3 drives price action here, right? See how these wicks down from low here? It's like signs of basically the pace of the sellers are slowly reducing. And we got the break here. And let's see what we got. Momentum here. So we need to get above, right now we're on the daily, we would need to get above that value area high again, right? That previous value area high. We would have the confluence of getting above the 200 EMA. And if we get that another aggressive move, I don't think it'll be as aggressive as before. Like right here, we have some confluence. We have supply risk here. We have a daily order block and right above the 200. So I think if we get above the 200, we're just going to consolidate for that continuation up. And that'll allow some time for the 50 to catch up to the 200 and gives like a golden cross scenario like we had right here before it pumped up like crazy. A lot of automated bots respond to golden and death crosses. So you tend to get like a lot of market orders in place whenever these get crossed from those kind of bot responses. If you go to the hourly, let's look at this more internally here. We lost uptrending momentum internally here. Change character. Getting rejected off the VWAP. We're awkwardly close to the 50-day EMA. I hate trading near the 200 and the 50-day EMA. I don't know what it is, but my win rate gets cut right in half whenever, especially when it's squeezed between the 200 and the 50. So I won't usually trade as much when we're near crap like that. mainly on Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin's like my main dude that I trade. So if we get that lower low, a break of structure, continuation down, I'd watch that 50 EMA. There's just like a no trade zone for me. I wouldn't touch it. But we can come back down, watch the order books around $9.20. There could be some buy walls here alongside with that uptrending momentum that could help maintain the pace of the buyers. They're constantly undercutting each other. That's what creates uptrends, is when buyers undercut each other in the order books. They'll see a giant buy wall here, and then they'll want to undercut it. They want to keep undercutting it until eventually it becomes a form of support. Yeah, I'll be waiting for a retest around these lows because there's nothing really I can take action on right now. We had inverse head and shoulders every single time we tested these levels. Other than here, we had a double bottom. So prepare for a reversal structure similar to that, where it gives you that change of character currents. And that could allow you to front run the break of this high for the daily break of structure. Because we have still yet, we got a little bit of an undercut to that daily break of structure. And we could be squeezing against the uptrending momentum right now for Zen. And if we have that squeeze, we could stay in here for up to 11, 13 days. But that will allow the 200 EMA to start slowly catching up to make the golden cross a lot easier. And maybe Horizen will give us another crazy aggressive spike to the upside. But statistically, we're more likely to range than we are to trend. So goes Bitcoin. We're still holding that level a bit here, eh? Yeah. No crazy volume or anything like that. Okay. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. There's a lot going on here. We have Pyth was another request. You can take a look at Pyth and see what's going on there. All right, so Pyth, we'll look at it on Binance. Pyth just lost the VWAP. That's the immediate thing that I see. We lost momentum. But let's zoom out. Let's see what's going on in the macro so we can help control our internal bias. Is this thing in a forever downtrend? Yeah. Okay, we're basically in price discovery based on this chart. I'm not sure if this is the full history, but we do have a little dinosaur over here, which tells us that it's the origin of the price action of the asset. But it could just be, sometimes it's buggy and it'll tell you just the origin of the actual asset in terms of the centralized price action, not the decentralized price action. But right now, as it stands, it looks like we're in price discovery in a bearish way. Whereas like Bitcoin is in price discovery in a bullish way, right? We're like new all-time highs. And this thing was at new all-time lows. We had inverse head and shoulders in confluence with the break of the 50 EMA. It gave us an aggressive pump into the supply concern. So we mitigated a daily order block that was created here from these two candles, right? So from these two candles, we mitigated that full amount. So the next time we test up here, it should be weaker, but we do have stacked liquidity from the last rejection. So you see how we didn't grab any new highs? We just kept getting lower highs here. That means we stacked more and more liquidity up here in the form of liquidation levels and in the form of stop losses. So that tells me that this is likely going to be hunted soon. But the more time we have away from it, the less likely it's going to occur, because liquidity can disappear from people closing their positions. So we broke down trending momentum. We hit these local lows. Let's pull the fixed range from here to here. Get our horizontal array, previous value area. Oh, I just clicked on the wrong one, my bad. Let's move this up here. Control, click, and drag will clone your trend lines. Value area low, control, click, drag, POC. All right, so Right now, we got acceptance back inside the value area during this moment right here. When we came up, got a pullback of at least 2 candles, and then a lower low. That break of structure gave us acceptance into this previous value area. Whenever you see that, you target the opposite side of the value area as if it's like you've been trading the range, right? Even if it's like within a trend and you see price action like this, it helps with assistance to basically extend any targets you might have. So if you're already an existing short, let's say from up here, and we come down here, you'd be targeting the value area high as a barrier, but then this occurs, you would immediately extend your target from here to here while being mindful of the point of control. So when that occurred, we ended up getting to the value area low. We broke down trending momentum as soon as we got there from the bullish confluence. We swept the liquidity from below this low. And now we're trying to, what is that? That's not, oh yeah, it is a trend line that I drew, okay. We don't have momentum we can draw yet for the upside on the 4 hour yet. We need to have this higher high first, and then we can start drawing momentum. Right now it's not established yet on the 4 hour. We probably have an hourly level. Yeah, so hourly momentum here, more broad. Then we have our internal momentum that broke to the downside. So now we have some confluence for support here if we end up breaking this level here. So we break this, let's pull this up on with the orange horizontal ray. This would give us a change of character response, and confluence with the rejection of the POC, and confluence with the loss of the VWAP, and in confluence with the loss of momentum. So we have lots of confluences for this. All we're lacking is the actual confirmation. So if we get the confirmation with the candle close, you can start targeting down here. This order block is kind of resting. If we break past this, we'd lose the hourly momentum, and you can have continuations down. But that's Pyth. I hope that helps you out. Right now it's looking bearish. Actively it's looking good, but I've seen it retrace like this all the time before continuing to go down. So as soon as we lose this level, it's confirmed that we're going to be coming down. Let's go to Bitcoin. So we broke the 3-minute momentum. Our change of character level, unfortunately, is way up here. So I don't trust it. I'd rather have better R&R anyways. We need to get hopefully down here. We got a decent bullish response off of the order block and 618 confluence though. Okay. Gala and Ondo is the other. How did you know that where Bitcoin is right now is an important level? Oh, confluences, basically. Confluences that express residual orders from the order blocks. So we had 15-minute, 3-minute, and 5-minute order blocks here. That tells us basically that there's a strong, decent chance that there are buy orders still left from the last time we had this pump. And we have the confluence of the 618. So when you pull from here to here, you can grab a Fibonacci level that'll help give you confluences for reversal as well. Like how Fibonacci basically works is the more people that use it, the more it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if a lot of traders are responding to a key level based on a Fibonacci pull, then those trade participants will help with confluence for driving it towards your targets or for your entries. Think of it as a form of market efficiency, the same way in nature it's a form of energy efficiency. So a large amount of people will look at this psychologically as an area to take profits when they're in potential shorts from the top. Gala and Ondo. Let's look at Ondo. I don't know. Actually, I'm curious about Gala. Let's look at Gala. Last time we looked at it was May 8th. Jeez, okay. I drew this a while ago, I guess. May 8th, we drew the an area of concern for like a reversal. So we have this downtrending momentum that broke right here, right? We're at a value area low. This value area is pretty old. We've been in here for 1,055 days. This is a macro value area. We have tons of value areas within this value area, of course. But this is the macro range that we've been in. And it suggests a potential target for Gala up here at 0.39. So almost 4 cents. We got the breakout. I'm not in this long. I know the long position's there. But from the last time we looked at it, we were looking at our most recent strong low that would likely occur to help us with our stop loss protection. The drawdown on that is 24%. So this is more of like a spot position trade than it is a futures one, because you can't use more than maybe 3x leverage. And you don't want to be holding a futures position too long because the funding rate fees will eat up your profits. And I say that very hypocritically because I do long-term future trades all the time. But you do tend to want to try to focus on spots if you have the funds for it. So we got that break. We hit the point of control, which is a big barrier concern. We want to get that higher high for that break of structure continuation to not only validate the inverse head and shoulders measurable base target, which is probably pretty high here actually. If we were to maintain the momentum, it would bring the price action of Gala to 0.029, so almost 3 cents. There's a previous value area low here that had a lot of influence over the price action, so I kept that marked, but I could probably delete it now. We have, let's delete this actually. And let's mark the confluence of that zone alongside with this supply concern right here. So you'd prepare for an exit around here if you're jumping in on Gala. Send it back. Yeah, so we have confluences there. Hopefully we get continuations there with a consolidation, but we could end up getting a really harsh rejection there, just like we kind of did here when we hit that POC. Let's zoom in now at the lower time frames. We can delete this noise. All right, we're getting squeezed against the previous resistance, trying to have it honored as a form of support. Let's pull a local fixed range here to here. Got to bounce off the local support, local point of control, sorry. It was similar to most of the other assets we're kind of looking at. It looks like it's trying to get a rotation down to its local value area low. And then from here, you can prepare for potential longs, and that could be a front run to the break of the downtrending momentum that could be the conduit for the daily break of structure right here. That gives us that target of potentially 3 cents to 4 cents, right? If we get past this, we're going to likely go into a 4 cents in the macro value area. So try your best to focus if you're going to be trading Gala, try to have a long bias and focus on the longs near the local value area low to try to front run that break. But listen to the warning signs. If we get up here and you see like a double top at the value area high, because we could just be range bound here a little bit longer. So exit here if you need to, right? Each time we come up. But you might just get that one that allows you to get the break to hold it for a longer term trade, converting your scalp trade into a swing bound trade. All right, that's Gala. So I'll be patient, wait down here for a potential long. In the same kind of way we got like the, change of character responses over here. Wait for that as well, or at least a double bottom. We got the change of character on Bitcoin, the 3 minute. So we might actually get a rotation back up here. It's awkward. We got 3 minute, 15 minute order block alongside with the VWAP and the value area high. So lots of reasonings to prepare for a short here. I would mark this whole zone actually like this. We got, see the confluence as well with the fib. Now that we have that change of character currency, you could pull a fib. I don't like pulling fibs until we get like at least a low time frame change of character. Because like, how do you define it as your low without something like that? So lots of confluences here to prepare for a short, guys. So I'll wait for that like low time frame change of character right here. And it's looking pretty, looking like it might be getting potentially squeezed like that. Okay, I'm running out of time, guys. Let's see what else I can grab. Lots of people here today, 73 viewers. If you guys are new, don't hesitate to ask any questions. I'd love to help you guys out. We got, here's our apex point right here. If we do get that like confirmation of a flag, if we get squeezed between the two levels, we can kind of confirm like if these levels are getting squeezed by looking at the order books right now, actually. So we want to look around 1097 and 1089. Okay, this is the 100. Let's go to the 10. So 10, we've got, yeah, 1085, a little buy wall, nothing crazy. And the sell side isn't very crazy either. We got 1093. So 1093, we got sell orders waiting for us, which is pretty much the previous all-time high. Like, that blue dotted line out of my screen right now is 109356. So we have people trying to exit around the same level as our previous all-time high. Which is in confluence with all those order blocks. So they're likely residual orders just waiting to be filled. Ondo was another request. Let's see. Ondo. Let's zoom out. Do I have, okay, I do have logarithmic on. Okay. And make sure you always have your logarithmic turned on, guys, or else your charts are lying to you. I met a trader that was trading for 5 years and didn't know about logarithmic mode. And as soon as he pressed that button, his win rate went up 20%. It's crazy. Our previous value area data here that we're kind of trying to range between. We lost the 200 EMA as support in confluence with the previous value area high and in confluence with the previous value area low. Lots of confluences for a short here, but the opportunity to try to jump in was very short-lived. Even on the 15-minute, it would be tough to try to get in on the safe break, especially if you're a confirmation trader. There was nothing there. So there might have been front run opportunities from this double top. And this local, we had an SFP here that would have been killer if you got it on that. Right now, yeah, we're kind of dancing between the 50-day EMA right here and the 200 EMA, which is really frustrating. I hate trading between them. We got a bit of a bounce off of the previous value area low. So we're now back inside acceptance inside this value area here with our POC, value area high, value area low. It's kind of got the same kind of positioning stance as Bitcoin in a sense. We got that weird kind of squeeze. We're below the VWAP, so we got that bearish bias. We're currently below the POC. Now we might get that break of structure now to get us out of this structure here. And we can target the value area low. Nothing that I would personally trade. I'm going to be, if I would be trading Ondo right now, I'd be waiting and for something safer down here. I don't like these squeezes near POCs. And I don't like trading, typically I don't like trading near a point of control either unless there is a lot of confluence, like a stupid amount of confluence. So if you ever see me give a signal saying I'm jumping in on a POC neck, like a break, it's usually from a neckline level close to the value area low or close to a value area high. Because that confluence turns the POC into a guardian for your capital the moment you get those breaks. But yeah, Ondo's looking short-term bearish, but I'll be preparing for longs down here. Vacation, almost 9:30 p.m. at your place. All right, see you, man. Thanks for jumping on. Mark's got to go too. I got to head out probably about 10 minutes as well. Someone's asking for my soul chart. I can get you my soul chart. I actually have to go onto YouTube for a second so I can get you that. So I'm talking to you guys through OBS right now. Okay, getting on. Actually, one thing you can do to get any of my charts is go into the server and you can click on, you can just type exclamation point charts on any of the channels. Like even if you're not a member, you can go over here, press exclamation point, type exclamation point charts, and you'll get a DM with all my links right here. So these are all the core assets that I like to trade. And if you click on any of these links, it'll give you my exact chart for trading right here. So anything that I'm drawing, you'll see it live happening on screen. If you see a long position tool or a short position tool, it doesn't mean I'm going to be jumping in the trade. So just be aware that you shouldn't just ape in whenever you see something like this on my screen, okay? Make sure you look around, see if there's any, like, do your own research, do your own stuff, right? But if you ever see a magnet right next to it, like this, then I'm in that trade. Like I guarantee you I'm in that trade. So if you see this plus this, I'm in the trade. But yeah. Okay. Well, guys, I've got to head out. I know I didn't get everyone's requests. I'm sorry about that. It's tough to keep up with everyone. I appreciate everyone who's jumped on. And if you haven't subscribed, I recommend it. It's free. And I'd love to answer anyone's questions on trading. I trade value areas. So if you don't know my trading style, I trade value area ranges for my intraday trading. And I use on-chain analytics for my macro-based trading. But yeah, guys, have yourself an amazing day. I really appreciate everyone who's jumped in and watched. I'll be potentially waiting for a long here. If we come back down and retest this as an area of interest, we have an inverse head and shoulders, but it all depends on the R&R because we know that there's a lot of confluence here for a reversal. So we got to be very cautious trading into that. All right, guys, have a great day, and thanks for watching.